Welcome, my viewer, in this YouTube channel. Uh, I've been sharing about my life experiences, and today I want to share about my life as a parent or journeying with a hearing impaired child as one of my twin. This journey started in the year 2004 when I conceived, and I was very happy after conception because I was really waiting and looking forward to have a third born. I had two children ahead of that pregnancy, a daughter and a son, and now I was expecting my third born. And during my pregnancy, I had very many challenges. My pregnancy was very, it was very uncomfortable. I was admitted severally in that pregnancy. And at 2 months, that's when I came to realize, or I was told after the CT scan, I was told that I was expecting twins. And it was a surprise to me, and I didn't know how to behave. Yes, I was happy that I've conceived twins, but I was wondering now what next after that. I had my fears and the like. And the pregnancy continued. Nevertheless, that pregnancy, until I gave birth to those twins, I had so many difficulties. But this being my third pregnancy, and even with the way I hear or I had heard about pregnancy of twins, I was not an exceptional. So I had to bear with the pain, I had to bear with the discomfort, I had to bear with everything that came along with that pregnancy. And I was looking forward to give birth to these long-awaited children, and that was 2005. And that time came. But before this time came, the gynecologist who was handling me, or whom I was seeing, had given me some precautions, and he had given me some do's and don'ts. And this was in regards to the hospital of choice during delivery. That time, I was going through financial crisis, and I was not in a position to go into a private hospital because of the financial constraints that I was going through. But my gynecologist had advised me, and he had even mentioned that if I go into a government hospital, my children may have infection, of which I carried very lightly. I didn't even take it as a big concern. And because of the situation that I was in, I went into a public hospital, even with that kind of a precaution. And a time came, that was on 28th of November 2005, that I went to hospital to give birth, or my time came to give birth. And when I went there, I was received well, and I was prepared for, mine was an emergency, and that emergency was done, and I gave birth to beautiful, beautiful baby girls. And these girls were identical twins, and I was very happy. I could not be able to express my joy or my happiness that time because of the pain that I was going through, because of the situation as it was. But in my heart, I was rejoicing. And little did I know that my joy will not last long after I received or after I experienced a challenge that lived to be even today. So what happened after 3 days, while my children were still in the hospital and I was still in the hospital, one of the twin, who was bigger than the other one, developed some changes. And these changes were noted by a cousin who had come to visit me, and she was a nurse. And being a nurse, she could tell and she could identify or pick something that is unusual with the baby. Of course, I was not even able to hold them. They were brought. I could breastfeed, and then they are taken away. They are kept in a cot. And this time loud, when my cousin came to visit me, she told me that she has noted that one of the twin is having an abnormal kind of fissure, and I was wondering, what is this abnormal? And then the baby was brought to me, and when I looked at the child, I also noted that the color was changing, or it had turned. So within a few minutes, less than an hour, my child started turning purple, bluish kind of, and this was very scaring. And I remember my cousin going to look for a nurse, and the nurse, when they also noted that there was a problem with my child, they called the pediatrician very fast, and she came, and she okay, I didn't get the feedback immediately, but according to what I heard later, the pediatrician said that that was a very dangerous sign, and they looked for an ambulance, they looked for another hospital, and my child was transferred to the other hospital. Of course, you can imagine what I went through that time, the fear, the doubts, the confusion. I'm in my pain. It was through cesarean. I've got another child here that I'm breastfeeding. I went through a very difficult time. However, God's grace is sufficient. That my child was taken care of in the other hospital where she went. She was admitted, and she was put in an incubator, where she was being fed through pipes, and she was also on oxygen. And that journey started there, and it was a very difficult journey. Okay, for me, I didn't know it was something that is going to take long. I even never thought that we are going to stay in the hospital for long. But because of my own challenges, I had to remain in that hospital for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, that's when I was transferred now, or I was taken to the other hospital where my other child was. And I stayed there because I had to give my child my blessed milk. So I used to place my milk, and then take that milk to the nursery, and then my baby was fed from that. And this time I was very, very affected by this kind of a situation. I remember questioning God. I remember doubting his love. I remember feeling downcasted and feeling unworthy, and even feeling so bad about it that I was wondering, why could God give me 2 children, and when I've just started to celebrate and to enjoy then this happens. And in that state, my physical wood started having infections. uh, and at the end of it all, I had difficulties, and it had difficulties to heal. I used to scream even when the nurses were coming to place the pass, when they were coming to clean my wound. I was in pain, a lot of pain. And after that, I thank God that after 1 month in the other hospital that we were taken, my child started responding, even though now to me it was trauma. The pediatrician who was seeing me, I used to talk to her daily, and I used to request her for discharge, and it was not easy. It was not easy at all. And she used to tell me the dangers that are going to affect my child, and I could not see that. Me, I just wanted to be out of the hospital. And a time came that she accepted, and I was discharged home. But by the time I was going home, my child had changed completely. One, she was the older twin, and when I was giving birth, this child was 2.8, and then the other twin was 2.6. The older twin is the one who felt ill, and when she felt ill, and she went into an incubator, and she stayed there for a month and some days. By the time I was going home with that child, the other twin, who was 2.6, was 3.5. But this twin, who was 2.8, she lost um, so many grams, because instead of now adding, she went home when she was 1.8. You can just figure out a whole kg was lost after a month. So this child did not even look like a child. It was like a cabin. And the people who used to come, because they were not allowed in to go and pray or to go and see that child, they were telling me I should even be grateful that I have one child. So to them, I had lost a child, and it really used to give me a very, very difficult time. I had hope in God that my child is going to survive and my child is going to be well. And I used to get reassurance from my pediatrician that my child is going to make it. But at the time of discharge, there were so many conditions that I was given by the pediatrician. The way I need to take care of this child, the kind of condition that she needs to be in order for this child to grow. And because I was very ambitious, or I was very I really needed to go to get out of the hospital, I had to tell and to reassure the doctor that all is going to be possible, even for things that I was not, that I didn't have, even for things that I couldn't afford. I had to reassure the doctor that all that is going to be done so that I would be discharged home. And when I was discharged home, I was very happy, and I did everything possible. My husband supported me, and I regained my strength. I was able to take care of my children in a better way, in a better environment out of the hospital. But all this time, I didn't know what my child was being treated for. I can't remember any time that I asked the doctor what my child was being treated for. But I remember I saw from the discharge notes that my child was suffering from an infection. And they were calling it sepsis. So that's all what I knew. And it didn't bother me much, because all what I was caring about was that I am out of the hospital, and my child was now able to suckle, and she could breastfeed very well. Not very well. She started when there were very many challenges, but within the course of time, my twin was able to breastfeed, and I was happy. And within a span of 2-3 months, my children were very healthy. But unfortunately, they kept on having issues, or they kept on getting sick. And I remember I used to go to hospital, and I was hospitalized almost twice a month, all through until they were 2 years. I went through a very difficult journey, and it is at this time, when they were 2 years, that my pediatrician asked me a question. And she asked me, uh, have you ever noted any difference between your twins? And I told her, there's a slight difference. And the difference that I was talking about, it was only that this twin had changed her color. By the time she was coming out of the hospital, because of the light, the scotchy light that is inside there, she had turned her color almost black, and they were totally brown. So that is the only difference I had noted. And then the pediatrician told me that you need to go for a test, or your child needs to go for a test at Kenyatta National Hospital. And it was like, what kind of a test? And I remember I took them to Kenyatta National Hospital. That was after 2 years. And when I went there, the clinic that I was sent was the ENT clinic. And then from the ENT, I was taken to another clinic whereby a test was conducted. And this test, I started fearing, because it was all about her hearing, and I was wondering what is the relationship. And unfortunately, the results of that test came out, and they were all about my child lost her hearing and speech. This is something I was least expecting to hear. It had not come in my mind in any way possible that I could have, my child could have suffered loss of her hearing through the treatment and the medication that she was going through when she was after birth. And this was now the beginning of a journey that was very, very, very difficult. And I didn't know how to go about it, because it was difficult. But I thank God He gave me strength to comprehend, because it was difficult to comprehend. I was not sure that what the doctors were telling me was true, and it was like I had a lot of doubts. I denied, I was angry, I was feeling unworth, I was blaming the doctors, I was blaming God, I was blaming everyone, and I didn't know how to walk the rest of the journey. And it is at this time that I was waiting to see how things are going to unfold. And it took me time to digest what I was told. But I was told that I need to go for clinics and checkups for the rest of the time. I didn't know for how long, but I used to go twice. I used to attend clinics twice, because I had 2 clinics a month at Kenyatta National Hospital. I was living in Thika. That's where we have settled, and it was not easy to go to Kenyatta twice a month. And I did this for the next 7 years. So you can imagine all that time going to Kenyatta, now with this child, for the last 7 years, for clinic, for checkups, looking forward and waiting for God to perform a miracle that my child would hear again. We are going to, I will talk about now the journey in the next video of what I went through and the far that we have come. I would want you to subscribe, like, and follow, so that you can get the next episode. And I believe that God is going to bless us together, even as you wait and hear what happened after that. Thank you and God bless you.